especially we are in Ramadan, and I know how difficult for you to manage Salat al-Taraweeh especially, and the talk which starts at 10 o'clock. Allow me to introduce myself in a different way. As you see, my name is Mariam Mohammed Fatma Matar. Could you guess who's Fatma? She's my lovely mother. So when I graduated from medical college back in 2000, I planned my life till 2050. It is the same age which my grandmother passed away. I'll be at that age. I will not tell you how old I'll be. So at that time, I decided to see what change I can do in my life and how can I contribute to my lovely country. And from that moment, since the childhood, I knew and I realized and I went through a journey to see the impact of my mother, not only on myself, on the people surrounding me. And I believe it's very little if we can contribute to add her name to all our official documents. So one of my plan and mission in life, which I'm lobbying since 2000, to add mother name, second to our father name, and maintain the surname of my father. So wherever I get the opportunity to add her name, I do that, till there will be a law in UAE where it will lighted and highlighted with adding the name of our mother. And as you see, my father name is Muhammad. So after that is Fatima, my mother name, and then the surname of my father. And if it happens, you will send me an email addressing me Mariam Fatma Matar. I'll be the one who replies on you. While if you will send Mariam Matar, my assistant Anu, she will be the one who is replying on you. And if you like the idea, I wish if you can follow and add the mother name to your surname as well. As a woman from United Arab Emirates, we know that we are in United Arab Emirates very lucky. And I cannot say that we are smarter or prettier than any woman in the GCC or Arab country. Simply we are luckier with a true leader and a true gentleman. And I'm sure majority of you know the difference between gentleman and male. There is male monkey, male mosquito, male donkey, but there is a real gentleman. And we in United Arab Emirates blessed with a real gentleman. And on top of the list, His Highness Sheikh Zayed, the founder of our lovely country. And I was lucky enough to have a great team to support me to establish a small organization called UAE Genetics Diseases Association. It is an organization where the whole mission is to empower the community with a preventive tool which is available, accessible, affordable, to maintain a healthier gene in our new generation by identifying the high-risk group who might acquire or develop a genetic disorders. And additional to the gentleman, His Highness Sheikh Zayed, I have a real gentlemen around me. And as you see in this picture, majority of volunteers, they were male and they were a gentleman. And because of their support and additional to 17 nationalities, we were able to launch our UAE Genetics Diseases Association. And additional to that, we have a CAP accredited genetic lab in Jumeirah, which was integrated by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed. Again, proudly, I am volunteer on board. So that's what makes me so happy to contribute without waiting for somebody to appreciate or give me money in return. And when I see the other nationalities, as I mentioned earlier, 17 of them from 17 different nationalities. And I see the passion when they come over in our small organization to work and contribute with their lovely, precious time to our small organization. That itself pushed me to do more as a national. We achieved a lot and we got a great appreciation. But allow me to say, this is out of record. The appreciation which we receive globally outside the UAE was, let's say, I have to say it in a political way, it was greater than the appreciation which we receive locally. And that's normal because science and scientific part of any achievements, it will not be yet recognized maybe by a country or a population which still doesn't know the impact of what we are doing. So it was recognized by 5 Nobel laureates who came in presence and they visited our organization. And imagine those 5 Nobel laureates, they came on their own expenses to come and support our small organization. And before they leave the place, Sir Dave, he wrote in the guest book, UAE GDA is a spot of light in Arab world in genetic research. And that means a lot to us for somebody in his scientific level to write that and document it with a black and white. Itself indicate credibility for our organization. And even I asked him, Sir Dave, I think there is some exaggeration in what you wrote here. He said, Mariam, I've been to Tel Aviv, to Jordan, Egypt, Syria, China, India, and I never seen such a practice where you provide the test free of charge and you sign a consent letter that you will not use these data for any publication which will come a direct benefit for you in publication. And additional to that, you are doing it for Emirati and non-Emirati. So according to him, this is considered one of the best practice. After which we were honored enough to have our first publication in American peer-reviewed journal. And I was the second author with Lord Dersey. To have that level of publication where our approach were considered one of the 5 best practice in community engagement for genetic screening and prevention in the community. So that was an introduction from where we are coming and why I'm so proud Emirati, proud wife and proud mother of a little girl. Her name is Sarah. She's 12 years old. And I'm sure majority of you are familiar with this slide. These are, anyone of you doesn't know what, yeah, okay, yeah. So how many of you knows very basic about genetics? Do you remember the biology in grade 8? Yeah, okay, try to recall that. There is no big changes since that time when it comes to the structural DNA. So as you know, we acquired 46 chromosomes, 23 from a father and 23 from the mother. And apart from these 2 chromosomes, these 44 chromosomes will define you as a human being with a head and neck and body, heart, liver, and so on. While the additional 2 chromosomes will define you as a male and female. So if it happens that you acquire the X chromosome from your mother and Y chromosome from your father, you will be defined as a male human being. While if you acquired X chromosome from your mother and another X chromosome from your father, so you will be defined as a female human being. And the lovely part of this slide, which really I like so much, can you imagine that we as a female was with an evidence-based research and all those references, whatever you need, we are as a female, we're defined the main reason of any civilization on planet Earth. Any smartness, any innovation on planet Earth, it goes back to a female. So if you are a female, you need to be so proud that you are a female with 2 X chromosomes. And simply, yeah, alhamdulillah, it goes, yeah. And that goes back to the X chromosome. So with the advance in medicine and advance in molecular biology, we are able to identify exact location of each part of the chromosome and DNA responsible for which functional structure in our body. So right now, recently, we were aware and we were empowered with a new knowledge, which clearly defined that the gene which is responsible for smartness in human being and creativity and social smartness is located on X chromosome. Can you imagine? We as a female, we have 2 X chromosomes. If one is not working, the other one will switch on. So by default, we are born smart. Yeah. And imagine the lovely gentleman who will happen, for example, he's considered himself a smart leader, smart scientist, smart actress, or whatever. Again, it goes back to the X chromosome which he acquired from his mother. So if you have in your family a boy who's smart enough with all the social smartness, please be proud and stand next to your husband and take the 99.9% credit for the achievement of your son. And the same do for your mother-in-law. I take very good care of my mother-in-law because I was blessed with a smart and gentle husband. So please, whenever you will be lucky with a smart guy who takes care of you, don't forget the reason of his smartness. his mother, and make sure that you give good care to your mother-in-law. So as a female, by default, we are smarter than. So today I'll be focusing mainly, because of the short of time, we will not go in all those basic knowledge about DNA. I will try to share with you some tools, practical tools, by which you can reprogram your gene easily, effectively, and you can see the result immediately within 6 months. And again, this is not an opinion, it is an evidence base with a great proven, with a great evidence, not only in the lab or with an animal, it extended furthermore on the human being. I would like to know, in general, how many hours you sleep per night, per day, per night? 7.5. 5, 6. 8. What time you go to bed? 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Zidane? Midnight. Yeah. And the other question always, how many liter of water you drink per day? 2 liters, 2 or 3? Yes. Yeah. So we need to change our approach in following what is good for us. There is always a reference. There is always a guidelines. There is nothing called 8 hours or 6 hours. We as an individual, we are different. There is no one size for all. And there is no 2 liter or 3 liter. Again, it goes back to an equation, which I will share with you. You can simply apply and confidently do what is important for you. The slides will be only as a guidance, but I would like you to follow up here. So if it happens, you are 60 kg. This is your weight. Divide this by 30. It will be 2. So what you need is 2 liters of water. So follow this equation on your weight. You will know exactly how much water you need to drink per day. And when I say water, it is pure water. It's not the coffee, it's not the tea, it's not the juice which you are having. And when I say water, it's very important to, in the same time, to differentiate between type of water in relation to the pH. You heard about alkaline water? Yeah. It's not a rumor, it's a fact. And I will share with you and I'll show you what does it change and why you need to make sure that when you drink Al-Ain, don't drink it before watching and going through the pH. It's 7.3. You should always drink any type of water where the pH is not less than 7. It is 7 days per week, 365 days per year. So this is your reference. So you have to drink any type of water where their pH is 7.3 and equal. And I'll explain to you why it should be alkaline water and how it is really impacting the functional structure of our cells, the DNA. So this is the water. So there is no 2 liter, 3 liter. Again, it depends on you. And in case if you drink, let's say, coffee or tea or whatever, make sure 1 cup of tea should be equal to 2 cups of the same size of water. So I'm drinking here karak tea. I'll make sure before I leave, I drink 2 other cups of water, which is equal to this size. And the same applicable on coffee or tea or whatever you are having. And in case if you are drinking sweet, any type of juice, not the fresh juice, 1 cup of any Vimto خلينا نقول رمضان لا 1 glass or cup of Vimto, you have to drink 2 other cup of water. The same thing. As you know, if you eat anything sugary, your body will excrete more water. And you need to detoxify your body from the sugar. Sugar is the most toxic substance to your DNA, and I'll explain why. So this is the message. There is nothing called 2 liter, 3 liter. There is no one size for all. There is an equation which we need to follow, and it's the best. This way your kidney will function healthier. Additional amount of water is not harmless, but make sure at least to maintain the daily. مرحبا دكتور. كيف حالك؟ He's my teacher. ايش حالك دكتور؟ الله يسلمك. Sorry, I'm standing in front of you.
I am proud of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming, Doctor. Allah يسلمك.
So you need to drink water before tea and juice?
No, anytime, but make sure during the awake time. So you don't need to get up from sleep to drink the water, the amount of water you require.
And that's in addition to the water you're drinking.
2 liters, indeed.
To your weight.
Indeed.
So what is this 30?
هذا النمبر for you to رقم المقام 30 يعني تاخذ وزنك تقسمه على 30.
60 الوزن.
هي 30 هذا الرقم اللي بيعطينا النتيجة كم لازم نشرب. هي نعم. يس ثابت. ال30 ثابت. بس تضيف الرقم بالكيلوغرام، الوزن بالكيلوغرام. كم وزنك؟
يعني أقل عن 60.
هي فبالتالي اقسم وبيظهر لك ان شاء الله بالسلامة. نعم هي نعم male and female, but for sure in female during her menstruation it should be dropped because already she's having a water retention. Yeah. But it is only a 5 days per month. It will not be that big difference for her. What we learn in grade 8 in biology that our DNA is our destiny. But now it's not anymore a fact or a knowledge which we need to depend on. Right now we have a new science in medicine called epigenetics. Epigenetics simply, it is a science which addresses the gene expression. For example, it's exactly like the computer, the laptop. It's the hardware is your DNA which you acquired from your mother and your father. While epigenetics, it is the software through which we can reprogram our genes. And you cannot imagine the power which we have on our genes. It's very easy to reprogram, where you can update your software every year, if not every day. And now we will show you with an evidence how you can reprogram your genes. In UAE Genetics Diseases Association, we focus on some disorders, which can genetic disorder in United Arab Emirates, which we can modify and improve the quality of the new generation of United Arab Emirates. And we were very successful, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, with 3 most common genetic disorder in my lovely country. We had something called beta thalassemia and sickle cell disease, and we have something called G6PD. Back in 2004, every week, 1 child used to born with thalassemia, every week. Diseased, where he will need, after age of 6 months, every 3 weeks he should come to the hospital for blood transfusion. And additional to that, every day for 12 hours, he put a dyspheral machine on his tummy, so he can get rid of the overload of iron, where his RBCs get broken, and all the content of the RBCs will overload his body. Right now, in 2017 November, we celebrated the born of last child born with thalassemia. Can you imagine? That is a great success for my lovely country. We cannot take that credit for ourselves as a UAE GDA. It was a collective effort by all the members in the community, governmental and non-governmental as well. And the same applicable on other disorder, which unfortunately, again, it is not uncommon in my country. شو اسمك خويا؟ أنت. إيش حالك خويا عبد الرحمن؟ الله يسلمك. متى آخر مرة فحصت الكوليسترول مالك عبد الرحمن؟ كم كان؟ كم كان مرتفع؟ أكثر عن 200 ولا أقل؟ أكثر من 200. كم وزنك عبد الرحمن؟ 110. زين قبل ما تظهر خذ رقمي، أباك تيجي تزورنا العيادة إن شاء الله. زين. We have something called familial hypercholesteremia. Familial hypercholesteremia. Unfortunately, we never knew that if you acquired or if you have this type of mutation or defect in the DNA, even if you will take statin is a tablet where we give the patient when he comes to the clinic, whenever his cholesterol is above 200, he needs to take 1 tablet per night. We never knew that if I am as a Mariam, my cholesterol is above 200, and I have this type of mutation, statin will not work on me. I am simply overloading my liver. And unfortunately, this was going on till 2017, where UAE GDA, we started a new national campaign trying to empower the community and the physician, and especially cardiologists, before prescribing statin, there is another step should be done. To make it more simple for you, we have, this is the liver. As soon you take any type of food which is high in fat, your body will digest the fat. Your stomach will start the whole process. Then it will get digested in your intestine. And as soon as it gets digested, it should pass to the liver. There is a whole biochemical process, only to simplify it for you. After that, it will go to the bloodstream again. When it goes to the bloodstream, we take this part. Here is apoprotein. It is type of protein which carry the cholesterol in your body and take it to targeted organs. يعني يوم احنا ناخذ اي ماده، ناكل اي ماده فيها دهون، مجرد ما يستوي له الهضم في جسمنا لازم تمر بعمليه كيميائيه معينه. هاي العمليه الكيميائيه تاخذها في مثل الباص، exactly like the bus, like the transport. It will transport this particular type of food to a different part of our body wherever it is needed. So let's examine. This is the bus which carry the particle of cholesterol. And whenever it comes, let's say here near any cells, it should give this, allow this the bus will come near the cells and will allow some of the passenger to come out from the bus and to enter the cells. If we imagine this is the cell membrane. Sorry, I have to draw around. This is our cell. And the cells is 2 layers. And in each part of the cell membrane, there is an entrance, a door. And to enter inside, we have to have specific type of receptor which bind to this cholesterol and pull it inside the cell. What happened, unfortunately, to the people who is having an ethnicity descent from India, Africa, any part of the Middle East, Pakistan, we don't have this receptor. So the cholesterol tend to move around and we start to have a high cholesterol. While other people whose their DNA having a normal structural cholesterol, they can easily absorb the cholesterol inside the cell. So when they go and do the blood check, their cholesterol is normal, it's below 200. Those people who doesn't have these receptors, the cholesterol tend to move around in the body and it will clot all those arteries and they will end up having ischemic heart disease, heart attack, and God forbidden, sometime they will have a stroke because of the clot in their brain. But the lovely part of genetics, which today I will share with you, where you can reprogram your genes, now we know those people, we don't need to give them statin. By the way, I'm not very much welcome by 3 major pharmaceutical companies who are producing that type of statin, and their market dropped dramatically since 2017. And I hardly, really, it's a very, I struggle for each activity and conference I do because I don't have any more sponsor from these major pharmaceutical company. But I'll continue doing that because my community, and as a scientist and as a physician, I need to care about my patient rather than my budget of my clinic. So what we do right now, which is lovely part of it, we have our colleague in Saudi Arabia, in Mecca, in al-Mudun. There is a university in Mecca where they did a population screening program on Saudi Arabian. They were around 3,000 Saudi Arabian where they had a high cholesterol and they were on statin but no improvement. Their cholesterol is not going down and they keep taking statin with high dose and the physician keep increasing the dose. So they brought those group and they did a whole genome sequencing for them. How we do that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in 2000, year of 2000, He empowered the scientists with a new knowledge where we are able right now to exactly know each gene responsible of which functional structure of our body in a project called Human Genome Project. It's a very, very big project which contributed hugely in the development of medicine. So right now in this project, we are able, if we examine Zidane, Zidane, he's my best friend, by the way. He was the regional manager of Pfizer. Pfizer, it's one of the biggest distributor of statin. But he's not on board anymore. I'm allowed to say whatever I want. Sorry, 1 minute. Yes. Yeah. For us to understand and how we can change and reprogram our gene, it's very important to understand the structure of the DNA. If we get Zidane and we try to take all those 46 chromosomes from each cell and try to join them together, can you imagine what is the length of the chromosome after joining them, all the chromosome and all the 2 billion cells in Zidane's body, 3 billion cells. Can you imagine what is the length of the chromosome? Give me a number. Only in Zidane's body.
2 million kilometers.
Million kilometer? More? More? Can you imagine the great power of Mother Nature? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is 2,500 times going and coming back to the moon and planet Earth. Subhanallah. Can you imagine? Only in one individual. Because of that, it took the scientists a long time to identify. Right now, we have this complete map. Exactly when you would like to come to this place and this lecture, you enter Google, you put the location, and it guides you. If we didn't have this mapping of the whole area of Dubai, we wouldn't be able to reach where we want. So exactly this is what happened. By 2000, we know exactly this whole long chromosome and structure of DNA. Exactly we know. For example, if we can imagine, this is the 2 strands of DNA. One we acquired from our mother and one from the father. And right now we know exactly, for example, each chain is composed of amino acid, small amino acid. Now we know exactly this location, for example, amino acid number 100 till 106 is responsible of formation of the liver. Then, this is an example. Then the next set is responsible for formation of the spleen. And so now we know exactly which part and which is exact location for each structural in our body. So when a patient comes to me with familiar hypercholesteremia, where his cholesterol is high and it's not coming down with the statin, I don't go and screen the whole genome. What I do, I give instruction to a small machine in my lab, go directly to the location number 106. I would like to know if the liver is working well and if the receptor is there or not. So additional to that, I have a Bible in my lab which tells me exactly if a person is familiar hypercholesteremia, how the reading will be. For example, here we have 100, 101, 102, 103, 105, 106. The person who's having familiar hypercholesteremia, the order of his amino acid will be 1, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6, 101, 103, and so on. The person who's having so and so. So with this screening, I will clearly and confidently diagnose my patient with familiar hypercholesteremia. So what? According to the study which they've done, our colleague in Saudi Arabia, right now we know exactly that all the patients can reprogram their genes by modifying their diet only in one element. Can you guess what it will be? Apart from sugar, fruits, fats, fiber. Nothing else apart from fiber. Minimum of 2 grams of fiber. If you add to your diet every day, your cholesterol within 6 weeks will drop 20 milligrams. Can you imagine? Minimum of 2 grams. Okay, Doctora, 2 grams, what is it 2 grams? If you can imagine an apple, how many grams of fiber? 2 grams of fiber. But the lovely part of epigenetics, right now we know if we increase the amount of fiber, it will drop faster and it will maintain a healthier digestive system. As you know, microbiome. Doctor, can you tell us a little about the microbiome, please?
Thank you very much.
Doctor Short, because I have...
Sure.
Yes.
Because she leads to the hot point. The microbiome is the gene of the microbiota inside your colon. This is the effect of fiber. Why the fiber is the effective properly on her research gene? Because of the microbiome. When we're changing our microbiome properly, that means all our life will be happy, will be healthy, and will be wealthy.
So microbiome, it's the lining bacteria of the intestine.
Microbiome is the bacteria inside our GI tract. It can be in the stomach, can be in the duodenum, can be in the intestine, and can be in the colon. Most of the microbiota are in the colon. When we are saying microbiome, we mean the microbiota, the gene of microbiota inside the colon. I can talk more, but this is... Because you didn't announce, we'll start...
Yes, please.
We'll start our project with Dr. Mariam about UAE microbiome project. This is the same like American microbiome project,
Inshallah.
British microbiome project. It will be breakthrough in UAE, inshallah.
Inshallah. So what happened in Saudi Arabia, going back to the microbiome, by increasing their fiber intake, their cholesterol dropped, Abdurrahman, without even taking statin. So right now in United Arab Emirates, any physician will diagnose a patient with high cholesterol. First step in the protocol is to refer him to a dietitian. A dietitian will help him to increase the fiber intake per a proper plan, where she will make sure at least 20 grams, not only 2 grams, minimum of 2 grams, but more is better. Yeah. So I'll explain to you how you are able to modify your the whole process. So again, by reprogramming our genes, it's a tool which is available in our hand. And here in UAE and in Middle East, we've seen the great impact of that. So why my mother, my father, my grandparents, they don't have high cholesterol, they don't have diabetes, they don't have hypertension? Can you guess why? Bravo.
They're more active.
Bravo. Yeah. Yes. Less meat. بعد? So you know the lecture. I don't need to give anything there. So simply it goes back to the diet. What you eat is simply how your body will function. You cannot imagine the impact of food on our body. You know harissa? Yeah, it's the most common dish in Ramadan. But long ago, only 40 years ago, it was a common dish throughout the year. And harissa, it's nothing else than oats. And everybody knows that oat, it is the golden type of food. You shouldn't pass a day without having at least 2 spoons of oat per day, the way you like. So my parents and my grandparents, none of them had high cholesterol. While 2 of my brothers, they are having high cholesterol, none of them eat good amount of food in their diet. So you can see that our DNA is not our destiny anymore. Even if you have this mutation, by which you don't have the receptor to take in the cholesterol, you still are able to drop the cholesterol. And how we do that? It is a long process. I need 1 hour more, but I'll tell you, go and read more about the role of microbiome. Even if you eat heavy type of food, which is high in fat, microbiome will play a very good role with the combination of the fiber and oat to make sure decrease the absorption and increase the excretion of the fat from your body. It will be converted to different type of hormones instead of roaming around in your circulation. There is a lovely experiment was done in the lab where scientists were really amazed. As you know, we use this type of mice simply because they live for 3 weeks. So we can see the change very fast. And as a human being, we need to have at least 2 to 3 generations to see the impact of epigenetic or any modification in the genes. And as you know, each generation each generation for a human being either will be 15 years or 30 years. It depends on the population of that particular country. So what happened in this mice, they got 2 groups of mice. One group, they fed the mother big amount of food with lack of exercise, and the other group, they let the mother to eat a healthy food, both couple. And they allow them to have the first generation of their offspring. So what happened that they noticed, imagine, before even putting them in this exercise, they screen their DNA. It's exactly the same. They are brother and sister. They put them in a group. They are identical twins, simply if you can say it like that. They change nothing. Their structure, DNA, is exactly the same. The only modification they've done in one of the group, they increased the carbohydrate intake, fat intake, and they dropped the protein intake. Can you imagine what was the result in the first generation of these 2 parents? Of the second group, their children, all of them born obese. Although the parents, they were thin, but their lifestyle, especially the food, were changed. Their DNA didn't change, so it affected dramatically the new generation. Additional to that, even it extended to the 3rd generation of the same family. And the same, we've seen it. Where is it? Sorry. Where is Audrey? You remove her? She's supposed to be there. Where is she? No, she's a lovely actress. I'm sure all of you know her. Where is it, Anu? Don't tell me you removed her.
No, maybe it's hidden, the slide's hidden. If you go back to the slides, remove the hidden slide.
She's not there, Anu. Can you put the other slide? It was clearly observed even in the third generation of the survivor of World War II. They saw the third generation of the same family who went through the starvation in the first era of the World War II. One minute. I'll tell you exactly the differentiation. Where is her picture? Why? Okay. Thank you. شكرا حبيبتي. Yes. So when we talk about genetics and reprogramming our gene, it's very important to keep in mind that we can easily, this sentence I will keep repeating it till all of you will remember this. We can reprogram our gene easily by changing the gene expression, by changing our software, not our hardware. And this was very clearly seen in the third generation of the survivor of the World War II. What happened? They noticed that even the third generation, even if they will be fed very well, their children still, they will be born with a weight less than 200 grams. Can you imagine? So that's why we understand the impact of something called folic acid. Folic acid, it is a yellow tablet where usually we encourage the female to take it in the first 3 months of pregnancy. But unfortunately, in this part of the world, even India and Pakistan and the Arab world, the female start to take this folic acid only after she misses her period. And lady usually miss her period after 4 weeks of pregnancy. Can you imagine this child was missing 4 weeks of his life, missing a very essential part of nutrient, which is called folic acid. And as you know, we have our brain system get fully structured and formed in the first 6 weeks of pregnancy. When the mother starts to take folic acid, she will help her child only for 2 weeks while he's missing other 4 weeks. And now with all these studies from the survivor of World War II, now we know how essential it is, the folic acid. So in UAE Genetics Diseases Association, in 2011, we started a project called Manal. Now we have a product available in all the pharmacies where 2.5 from the sale goes back to our project. And we encourage all the female in childbearing age to take a folic acid on daily basis. And that is applicable even on male. As you know, folic acid is a water-soluble vitamin. If your body doesn't need it, it will be completely excreted by urine. Only if you exceeded 800 tablets, if you will take it once, you will have indigestion. You will not have any overload. As you know, there is a difference between water-soluble vitamin and fat-soluble vitamin. Fat-soluble vitamin, your body cannot excrete it, and usually the body will take it, it will be stored in different organ in your body. While the water-soluble vitamin, it will be excreted from your body. What does folic acid do for a female and for the child, and why it is important for reprogramming our genes? I'm trying to simplify the knowledge, wallah, yani. Please, if you need it more simple, let me know. It's much easier to do it with sophisticated terminology, you know? Wallah, much easier. So we have the folic acid. This is our brain. The baby will need this folic acid in the first 6 weeks of pregnancy. Why, for example, we have this two group of female, group A and group B. Both of them are born with a defect in the DNA where their body cannot form a complete spinal cord for the body. Both of these female, they carry this mutation. Group A, even if they carry this mutation, what we've done, we give them a good amount of folic acid even before pregnancy, but 3 months. They took good amount of folic acid. Group B, they were not given the same amount. Then they observe the newly born children for both groups. Although both of them, they carry the same mutation, which increase the risk of their baby to be born in defect with the brain, where they will have water in the brain, hydrocephalus, or they will have spina bifida, a defect in the spinal cord where there will be a projection of some content of the nervous system. The first group, they had baby, let's say if they were 100, out of the 100, although both of them have the same mutation, of the 100, only 3 newly born children, they had neural defect. Then group B, out of 100, for example, they had 75 of their children born with a defect in their spinal cord. So now we know that because of the folic acid, they were reprogrammed of the gene. How does it happen and why does it happen? We can imagine this room. When the constructor came to build this room, he built the wall, the window, and he extended all the wire, and he has different type of spotlight on the ceiling. But before he goes and finish the whole project, he makes sure that there is a switch at the door. And that switch, you can control this light or the other light, and you can control even the AC. And when we are born, it's exactly the same. We have, this is our DNA strand. It comes and it's rolled around a structural in our DNA, and then it passes again. I'll show you the picture there. But again, when it takes around this structure in our DNA, there is a switch here which bound to this ball. The DNA will bound to this wall. And this is exactly that, like this switch. By this switch, we can on and off. For example, the switch on the right side control the spotlight in the back side. The next switch is control the spotlight in the middle. And exactly the same in our body. So these two groups, they had this defect in this part of the DNA. But by adding folic acid, this tie will be stronger. It will not be open. So when this tie gets stronger, even when the cell would like to translate this order of DNA to a protein, there is no chance. The light is switched off. So for example, this is what happens. So when we give them a folic acid, this switch will switch off and it will not be expressed. It will not be translated to a protein which will have a defect in the formation of the nervous system of this baby. And the same applicable on breast cancer. For example, if we can imagine group A and group B, they are identical twins. And these identical twins, and by the way, all this study was as a conclusion of identical twins study, where they have identical DNA, but they change the environment for them, either by food or sleep or whatever. Then we start to understand the role of epigenetic to switch on and switch off. For example, if we have Mariam and Fatma, both of them are a sister and identical twins. Both of them carry the gene which increase the risk for breast cancer. Fatma, she got married to a very nasty male who stay awake and out of the home, away from the family till 4 o'clock in the morning. And he smokes, and he's very bad. He has other 3 wives. Can you imagine? How awful is that? ridiculous. Can you imagine? Wallah. I cannot imagine somebody will share such. Yeah. Yeah, maybe, wallah. While Maryam, she's happy with a lovely husband, so relaxed, with a very good boss at work. She is so happy, she exercise, she work out, she makes sure after 6 o'clock she will not have any type of carb, she do meditation, and she carry the same genes which increase her risk for breast cancer. And unfortunately, Fatma, she wants to control, she doesn't want any more babies. So she will start to take contraceptive pills, which is a hormone content of the body where the lady she will take, it will stop ovulation. Even if she will have her period, she will not have eggs which can be fertilized by chance. So Fatma, she has all the factors. And we will take one of them, only for Fatma to sleep sad and to have stress during the day. All those hormone, cortisol and the rest, they switch up. And they come easily switch on the gene which increase her risk for breast cancer. And before age of 40, Fatma will be diagnosed with breast cancer, an aggressive type which usually comes for a female from this part of the world. As you know, the breast cancer for the female in this part of the world is very aggressive. It metastasizes so quickly and it increases in size in a dramatic way. So what happened to Fatma? She has the mutation and it was switched on because of lifestyle, her lifestyle. While Maryam, I didn't put this Maryam. I made sure Maryam, she's the good part of the story. So while Maryam, she's happy, she makes sure she sleeps before 11 o'clock, except in Ramadan. After 6 o'clock, she will not have any type of carb. And she makes sure her husband will not take second or third or fourth wife. And she knows how to make herself happy. So Maryam, she will live till age of 120 without even acquiring any defect in her breast, because she will make sure all those switches are closed and they are switched off. This is what we mean by epigenetic. It simply will make sure those nasty genes will not translate it to a protein which can be expressed as a functional element in the mechanism of whatever structure in your body. So now we know that our DNA is not our destiny anymore, and we can simply modify our life and protect ourselves and live till 120. And inshallah, عقب توفيق من Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I will live and I will celebrate my 120 birthday. While I look 80 only, inshallah.
That's important.
Yeah.
Think of one.
So we heard a lot about the stem cell. Can you tell me, what do you think about stem cell? Stem cell.
They're in the center of the spinal cord.
Okay, what they do?
A cell, you can make it grow to
Anything, yes.
differentiate to any iron cell you want.
How essential are they?
They're very good research if you want to grow
Yeah.
It's where your nervous system is, isn't it?
Yes. What else?
Find them in the bone marrow.
They can be translated to any kind of cell.
Yes.
They have the full information.
Bravo. Yes. What else? Yes. Yes, you can find them in the cord blood. Yes. What else? The best gift ever a mother can give her baby is by preserving the stem cell which is in the cord blood and a small piece of the epithelial of the placenta. And if you didn't do that and still you can give birth, you can get pregnant and you are still not 55, please go and get pregnant and preserve the stem cell for your children and yourself as well. Because it's not the future, it's the reality of medicine. It's a reality of medicine. And if you are below age of 40, go to the nearest stem cell center and ask them to take good amount of your adult stem cell which is in your bone marrow, and they will cultivate it in the lab. They will make sure that the 10 stem cell, they can cultivate it to become 1,000, and they will be preserved in nitrogen. And when you will be in age of 70, they will be injected to your brain, and your brain will regenerate, and it will act as a 40. This is not science fiction, it's reality. It's the reality of medicine today. So I preserve my stem cell. I did that. As you know, I studied in Planet Japan. Do you know Planet Japan? It's a planet, by the way. So in Planet Japan, I'll share with you some. I already preserved 5 of my eggs when I was in age of 28 in Spain, and they are in an excellent condition. I can recall them anytime if I'm planning for a baby. So they have a better genetic than mine right now, the egg that I'm carrying right now. And I preserve my stem cell. I took them out from my bone marrow, and they are in excellent condition. Because of that, inshallah, عقب توفيق من Allah, I can confidently say I will live till 120 because I have good amount where I inject them everywhere. Oh my God. So please, please, if you forget everything, try to help yourself and you will help your children by preserving your stem cell. Is there any advance, is there any great achievement happen in medicine with a stem cell? Yes. While we are talking right now, I'm sure you heard about the study which was done in China. The 2 twins which was born and they are protected against HIV. Yeah. So on this 2 baby, what they've done, it's a new technology called CRISPR, by which we can modify and remove part of the DNA and replace it with a better one. And he was able to do that. But again, to do this process, you need additional stem cell in that. And while we are talking right now, there is 5 patients which was treated from Alzheimer. They were not able to remember anything happened 6 months ago. After injecting them with a very good quality of a stem cell, they were able within 6 months remember the exact telephone number of their daughters, and they remember 2 of their childhood friends. So right now when we talk about a stem cell, it's not a future, it is the reality of medicine now while we are talking. And we have 2 patients from Abu Dhabi. We send them to 2 centers in US. They are type 1 diabetes, and the other one is type 2 diabetes. And they have a good amount of a stem cell which was extracted from one of their siblings, and they will be injected. And we are looking forward to see the result of that treatment. It will be an absolute treatment for their diabetes, so they will not need any more insulin or any additional medical intervention for their diabetes. And the same applicable for 11 stroke patients. Unfortunately, in China, they don't have all those guidelines and governance in any medical research. So they can exceed the whole steps where you need to have a consent letter, you need to have a protocol. And unfortunately, what they do in China there, those people who's having a life sentence, they tell them if you would like to be part of a research or you will lose your life. So they don't have any chance. They will be enrolled in some medical research and they will apply all those study on them. And we can see a great, great, great result on them, especially after inducing stroke to some of those presidents, unfortunately. And then they will inject them with a stem cell. They can see that they recover in a specific time and with a great result. And already we have 2 patients from Erbil in Iraq. They went to China and they had a complete blindness. With injecting a stem cell to their retina, they recover. Now they can see the shadow. It's embryonic stem cell, yeah, which is again illegal. But yes, yes, I know. But again, it's promising, you know, and we will be doing it with a better governance and good protocol, where everybody's right can be preserved. And we have in the same time a Saudi Arabian gentleman, his name is Sufuk al-Shimmeri, who it happened to be, he's one of our scientific board member. He is the head of cardiology unit in Japan, in Osaka. And can you imagine for a Saudi guys to be given this post? He should be genius. And we are so proud to have such a colleague from Saudi Arabia who was involved in treating 11 cases of cardiomyopathy. These people usually, for you to help them to live in a better quality of life, they need to have a heart transplant. So what they've done in China, they asked them if they would like to be part of a new research, clinical research. What they've done, they took embryonic stem cell. In the lab, they cultivate them, and on a sheet of paper, like a tissue paper, but it's full of stem cell, then they get 9 pieces of this sheet. They cover the heart, which is defected, and they will follow them for 6 months. Can you imagine? Now this procedure is covered by insurance in Japan. Can you imagine? They return the function, the ejection fraction, the function of their heart up to 70% within 6 months. And for insurance to cover this procedure, you can know how effective it is. So stem cell is not a future, it's the reality of intervention. And when we talk about gene therapy, what is gene therapy? It's nothing else than getting a virus which is not infected, how can I say it in a simple word? A virus which is not harmful. Even if it will enter your body, it will not affect any infection, or it will not stimulate your immune system. So what they do, they get this virus and they modify the gene of the virus with the right one. For example, if we'll take an example of virus which cause hepatitis A in the liver. So they take a sample, they take those individuals who is having a defect in their liver, and they get this type of virus, modify the DNA, then inject the patient with that type of virus. The virus will go to the liver, it will exchange the DNA to that cell, so the whole new cells will be having a copy of the good DNA. And all the organ will try to recover, and it will function like a normal liver. And right now we have a patient in Ras Al Khaimah who is diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Duchenne muscular dystrophy, it is unfortunately a genetic disorder. While the child is growing up, after the age of 4, his muscle cell will get replaced with fat cell. So it will lose the function of a muscle, it will act like a fat cell. And unfortunately, majority of them, they die by age of 15 to 16, where their respiratory muscle will not be able to help them to breathe. But right now with the gene therapy, it is a new medication which was approved by Genito, which is a very well-known center in France. Now he will have the injection every month, 1 injection for a whole year. It costs 300,000 dirham. Government cover that for Emirati. And for non-Emirati, we get some support from different societies. And they can live up to 40 with an excellent quality of life. But it should be diagnosed before age of 6. So now when we talk about genetics, it's not future anymore. It is a medication which is available in UAE. It is a procedure which is available in UAE, and it is they're affordable and accessible by majority of the people. I'm trying to summarize, wallah, تعرفون? Oh my God. No time for pH water. I can share this slide with all of you. Yes, yeah. And there is all the references where you can go. So, if you cannot change anything in your life, my only request to you, please, please change your sleep pattern. If you cannot change your wife, change your sleep. One of the guys, he keeps telling me, Doctora, I want to sleep early, but she doesn't, you know. So, and please read more about something called electronic pollution. It is a pollution which is induced by all those,
Things in his mobile now.
yes, by the Wi-Fi. Please make sure when you sleep at night, switch off the router. You cannot imagine, don't wait till it will be proved that it stimulates, switch on all those nasty mutations. And no need for you to go and do a complete genetic screening. That is another thing which is against medical ethics. As a physician, I'm not allowed to screen you for any mutation, any defect in your genes, if I cannot help you with a preventive tool or intervention tool. Because of that, even if you'll come to my clinic, I will screen you only for those mutations which so far the intervention tool is available and accessible and affordable by you. All those commercial lab who does that end up by introducing to you a knowledge where you can get no benefit of. It only will make you more worried that you carry a gene which increase your risk for GIT cancer, for liver cancer, for dementia, while you cannot do anything to yourself. And finally, when we talk about sleep, I can simplify it in a scenario which can be absorbed faster by all of you, away from all the medical terminology. You can imagine yourself okay, yeah, anything? Okay. So when we talk about sleep, as you know, sleep is 5 stages. And this 5 stages get repeated every 90 to 120 minutes. As soon you sleep, you go from within 5 to 15 minutes to stage 1, then stage 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Why it's important for us to go through stage 1 and stage 2 and make sure we pass stage 2. People who drink coffee, all those type of tea, and they say, if I put my head on the pillow, I immediately sleep. They don't exceed stage 2. They will be roaming around here. They get up in the morning, they feel tired. They are never fresh. And they will start having dementia before age of 60. And they have too many problems when it's come to memorizing. Those people will stay here. Why it is essential for us to go stage 2? In Australia, as you know, and different advanced country where they have a college and university studying only sleep. In those centers, they have something called Sleep Studio and Research Center. They get some volunteers from the road and they ask them, please do whatever you want, but at night come and sleep in our studios. They will apply an electronic cap to their head and they will allow them to sleep, and they will monitor their health, all those parameters, for at least 6 months, 3 to 6 months. So what happened in these two groups, they got this group and they came to the sleep research center, and they made sure they didn't tell the observer that Mariam is having a problem in her knee, Abdurrahman is having problem in his liver, Taghi is having no problem. زيدان وين مشكلتك؟ يلا زيدان. So what they've done, they start observing them, and as you know, as soon you wear the mental cap, it will monitor all your function of your brain. Now with the advance in medicine, we know exactly which part of your brain responsible of which function of your body. Exactly we know. So what happened, they observed that almost all the candidates who were in this experimental study, as soon they pass stage 2, their specific center in the brain will get hyperactivated. And the first center will be hyperactivated. It is the center which is responsible of the defect in his body. For example, if Mariam is having a defect in her heart, the first area will be stimulated in the brain is the area which is responsible of the heart. Somebody is having defect in the kidney, and the same is applicable. So they draw a scenario by which we try to explain to the public in a simple language. Is exactly like this. So when you pass stage 2, what happened? All those activity which is related to the body function will switch off. 30 years ago, if we tell somebody about mobile, nobody will believe that there is something existing like that, because simply we were not aware about this electronic wave which is available in our atmosphere. So as soon we go from stage 1 to stage 2 and we want to go to stage 3, a new channel will switch on. It's exactly like your radio. You can switch from a channel to channel only by turning the wave of the radio. If you want Dubai, if you want whatever. So it's exactly this what happened in the brain. When you go to stage 3, a new channel will start. And this is exactly like Prime Minister, which is the brain, and all the organ considered like the ministers. So the brain will take over and all other function will switch off. And they will start communicating with each other. But the communication is not with language. They communicate with chemical materials by each other. So what happens, the brain will say, okay, tell me what's going on. Kidney will say, I am the first who need to speak. I'm suffering. Mariam, during fast, she doesn't drink a good amount of water. I cannot filtrate all those toxins which she's having during iftar with extra sweet which she is taking. So brain will say, don't worry, dear kidney. I'll make sure tomorrow, Mariam, first thing she will do in iftar, she will have good amount of water. And how it's done? He will order the center responsible of thirst. Tomorrow, she need to drink water as soon as she open her thirsty. If we will avoid Ramadan, so during the normal days, sometime you wake up in the morning, you want to drink water. Sometime you want to drink a sweet thing. Sometimes you want to drink something rich in protein. It's not you, it's your brain who's doing all of that. And what will do as well, it will order all those lining cell in my intestine. Tomorrow, any type of food Mariam will eat, try to absorb as much as possible all the fluids. And it will order the specific cell in the kidney, please don't excrete too much urine. And it will order the sweat cell in all the area, all the body, please tomorrow don't do a complete vasodilatation, even if Mariam went to a place which is quite hot and she needs to sweat. So body will take over, will try to repair as much as possible. Then the liver will say, this is my turn. I'm really tired from Mariam. She eats too many fatty food. And I'm really struggling. She keeps eating all those supplements which she read on Instagram. It's good for hair, good for nail, I don't know what. And it is toxic. I'm trying to get rid of it. Her body doesn't need it. So on. Then the brain will say, okay, don't worry, dear liver. I'll take care of that. What he will do, he will order the gallbladder to secrete more this gallbladder secretion. So when I eat fatty food, the amount of the gallbladder secretion will be higher, so all those fat will get absorbed faster and it will be excreted by our body. And again, it will order the hunger site in my brain. Please make sure tomorrow Mariam will crave for protein rather than fatty food. And the same will be done if I have good amount of receptor in my cell. Tomorrow, please make sure instead of 5 receptors in each cell in her body, I need 10 receptors which will take all those cholesterol from the circulation inside the cells. That's only happen if we give our body enough time to repair itself. Only if you will sleep before midnight. People who sleep after 11 o'clock, they will miss half of this circulation. Because you need to sleep before 12 o'clock, so you have your eyes closed, there is no stimulation by light, and your body will start to secrete all those melatonin and growth hormone, all those elements which is needed for this communication. Because if they are not in a good level, brain cannot talk to our body. Our brain cannot repair itself. And the same applicable to the immune system. So for example, while after all those organs will communicate with the brain, what happens? Suddenly there is a very loud voice from somewhere. Then the brain will guess from where. He said, I'm here next to Mariam's lung. There is a naughty cell which duplicating and they are increasing in size, and I think they become a cancerous cells. Then the brain will say, don't worry. And instead of sending a soldier, he will order thymus. There is a gland under our sternum. It's a very strong immune gland in our body. So it will order the thymus, please, I need a lieutenant to go instead of an ordinary soldier. And instead of T cells, there will go a macrophage, which is a different type of cells in our immune system. It will go immediately, will eat that cell, and will make sure it will not give it chance to become malignant. But imagine if we didn't give our body chance to talk. It's exactly like husband and wife. If they have a misunderstanding and they will not sit and talk, a small problem will exaggerate, it will be quite big, which will end up by divorce. So please help your body by only sleeping on time, by modifying your genes and reprogram whole genes only by changing your sleep. And if you don't like your husband, please let him stay awake. Believe me, he will die earlier, so you will enjoy the rest of your life. Thank you very much.